We're recording.
Okay,
Good,
cool.
good evening, everybody. I'm Susan Bachelder, and we are having our another regular Wednesday night hangout with mentors. We meet here every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on purpose, of course, right? And who are we? We are the Unstoppable Alliance, a group of people who just like hanging out and making money, sharing value, talking about thought-provoking, interesting, money-making kind of activities. And that's the
She
topic.
said money 2 times.
I said it twice. So here's the thing. What happens sometimes is we'll get really busy doing busy stuff in our business. There's lots of little details, especially with social media and video and lots of people. You get into having conversations and doing some of this and maybe you're making your website look really great. And that is important. Having cool images, good content, all of that is really important. But here's the thing. If you're not doing and really focusing on specific money-making activities and making that a priority, you're not going to make sales. And you'll be missing out on the money. There'll be no money dances, right? So that is really important to focus on that. And how the topic came to me, oftentimes it'll be getting close to Wednesday, and I'll be thinking, oh, what's the topic going to be? What do we need to talk about this week? Because I usually try to choose it on either something that's happening, maybe some recent questions that have been asked, so it's relevant and valuable for all of the people that we converse with. So this week, as today was coming again, I was kind of stumped, and then I was reminded, really for the last month, I've had to reevaluate my time frame. I've had to cut back my hours pretty much in half. So I was joking earlier in a meeting. Now this last month, I've kind of been working the same kind of hours as most people. I probably do work too much. But anyway, irregardless. So when you have to relook, and I know a lot of you will relate to this, whether you're a parent or you have something going on maybe with your family, or some people work a job and then are adding and building their business in the background during the shift. And you have to really evaluate your time. And when you do that, you have to prioritize which activities you're going to do or which you do first. Do the most important ones first, and that's money-making activities. So now we will dig into what are money-making activities? What's all this talk about money-making activities? What's the number one, very first money-making activity that you have to do? Tammy, what's the first thing you have to do to make money?
Love this subject. This is fun, and the thing is well.
No, answer my question.
What's the first thing?
Focus.
You have to have a bank account. You got to have somewhere to put it. Well, you can take cash, and cash is king, right? So what's the first thing you got to do is you got to generate leads. You got to get a person interested. You got to connect. You got to invite. You have to capture. You have to capture that person's attention. And it's like you got to stand out. So it's like a billboard, you got to make sure that you're front and center, and especially in the internet space, so you want to make sure that's the first thing. You got to have a person. You got to have, like Susan would say, well, I've said it time and time again too. You got to have a pulse. If the person don't have a pulse, then they won't have, if they don't have no interest in bettering themselves or making money. And believe it or not, there's people out there that don't want to make money. There's people out there that don't want to become successful. It's just the way it is, So that's the number one thing, Susan, leads.
Yeah, you have to generate leads. And Richie says in the comments, don't you need a product to sell first? And yes, absolutely. Yes. But as far as your daily activities, you have to always be generating leads. So if you're on Facebook and you're watching and searching and scrolling, that's not generating leads. If you're actively having conversations that's generating leads, then yes, that is. And it doesn't have to be all that time consuming, but you definitely have to generate leads. What would be another money-making activity, Kelly? And welcome, Craig.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. I would say definitely next to lead generation is, having a proper funnel set up is really, really important so that you're capturing people's attention through an information gathering process that doesn't take your time, so that you can really, what I like with what we do is the time leveraging aspect, because we do have the tools set up, so that the funnel works very efficiently with autoresponders. People are really getting the value equation here, I think, comes when they really step into taking part of everything that we do here, so that, it's not just the 3-step process, but I like what Jason said the other day. It's a 3-part process of, capturing someone's attention. Then we get them to the website. But then the most important is allowing them to see who we are as the Unstoppable Alliance. So, that might have answered maybe part 2 and 3 of that question, but I think it's just all part and parcel to doing things that we use the automated system as best we can, but yet we have to connect personally with people too. So that's, to me, the time spent connecting personally is actually the most valuable time that I spend. I like people to actually get the information from the source, because then we're all getting the same information, and then I can't mess it up by forgetting something, or maybe sometimes adding too much information, is not good either, from my part. So.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. And the cool thing about the automation part of this process, even the lead generation, it can be very automated. Once you have ads and ad copy that converts, you simply put that into action, and then that works, saves you a lot of time. And then that middle part of building rapport that you were talking about, Kelly, that you can spend more time doing that because the rest of your process is automated. And that is directly a money-making activity, as long as you're focused on how that building relationship and that building rapport section goes. Absolutely. And then step 3, part of the money-making activity, Ray, what happens after so you've generated the lead, you've built a relationship with them, and then what happens then?
Well, what I would do is reach out and connect with them, and give them another opportunity to speak with me. And once I connect with them, of course, it's a conversation, knowing what to say. And it's basically an interview, a real quick interview, with a few questions to see if this is the type of person that you want inside your business, and if your business can actually help them. So it's basically a fact-finding mission, and then telling them how to get started and make money, how fast they want to make money with us.
Absolutely. And in that part, and Tammy, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to ask you this question because I know this is your place. But in that part, that's where a lot of people get a little bit nervous. But it's a very important part of making money, and that's qualifying that person at that stage. And don't be afraid to ask the question: Are they qualified? Are they willing? Are they able? Are they wanting to learn? Are they willing to take instruction and steps? And do they have money? Where do they want to be at that part? Craig, you're great in this interview process and qualifying. Would you like to speak on that point?
Sure.
And is it a direct money-making activity?
Pardon me?
And is that a direct money-making activity?
Sure. I got kicked off, so I wasn't quite sure. I was off for a little while. What the topic is money-making activities, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you want me to talk about a specific money-making activity, or one that I'd like to choose, or?
Well, my question to you was, it probably wasn't really that as clear as it should be, but that end conversation, the closing part of the conversation, qualifying them and asking them, like, are they a fit? Are they able to follow instructions? And do they have the money? Do you consider that a direct money-making activity?
And this is on the initial call or the follow-up call?
The follow-up call. So you've already had your initial call with them. You've already built built rapport, made sure they went through the information, and this be hopefully your final and closing call.
Okay. I'm blonde-headed, so it takes me a little while to catch on sometimes.
It's all right.
But, no disrespect, Tammy. But she's actually one of the sharpest ones on the block.
I'm not a natural blonde. Well, actually, yeah, I was more blonde.
Yeah, you're one of the sharpest gals that I've met. So anyway, well, on the follow-up call, just getting back with them, asking them what they liked best and what they saw. I don't think it's really appropriate to ask them, did you like what you saw? You see, rather? No, you really want to ask them, what'd you like best about it? Get them to point out some things that they liked. And then also talk perhaps about, what level they are thinking about coming in that best fits their financial needs. One thing I have learned is from Jason and Rob doing three-way calls with them is they really start at the top. They don't start at the 2035 and on up. They start at the top. And it really makes a difference in the way it sounds on the call when I was listening on these three-way calls. Just listening them doing that, it really struck home that that's a really good way to do it because it makes the higher package sound like it's more of a appropriate package, which it really is because we all really need to strive to be at the VIP eventually. The sooner the better for everyone. But just leading them into the next step. How do you feel about getting started and let's make some money together? How do you feel about moving ahead? What do you plan on doing with the money? My goal is to help you do this. And let's say we can help you make $1,000 a week initially or $2,000 a week. What's that going to do for you? And maybe talk about that to get them somewhat motivated to what their desires are. I did want to add, though, that I think it's important also once you have someone that's come in to help them, to set up a time where they can listen to you make phone calls, or I should back up and say first get set up their website and get that all set up, get them directed in the right direction, and then maybe set up a time where they can listen to you make phone calls, me make phone calls. And what I've actually started doing recently is having them make some phone calls with me on the phone after I've done some phone calls. So it helps them to get out of their comfort zone. And by doing that, they're going to move ahead much faster because helping them make money is going to help me make money. So I hope that didn't cover too much, but
nope.
That's what came out.
Yeah, that's exactly where I wanted to go. And I will come back to you, Tammy, on that qualifying closing conversation too. And the middle part, we will have a separate specific covering the topic about the building rapport, etc. So today we're specifically talking about the money-making activities, which yes, the middle part definitely is building rapport, but mostly we want to talk about the importance of making sure that you're generating leads and that you're not afraid to ask for the money at the end. So we're skipping the middle part for today, just for clarification. Tammy, asking, qualifying them, like asking for the money. Do you want to talk on that for a bit?
Yeah, I usually try to shoot for a one call close, and that's just me. So what I mean by that is essentially if I'll give you, I have lists. I keep notes like a maniac too. Every lead you want to really get to know them, and this is the thing, and even my kids joke about this. I can make a friend in 10 seconds flat anywhere. So, you want to obviously, be courteous, make a friend, get to know them a little bit, but just kind of ask them, like what they do. So I'll just give you a real live example today. One of our leads, and Susan's a lead ninja, she's just a lead ninja. Okay. So one of the leads came through our funnel, and how that funnel is set up is it's warming people up. They're learning about our community and things like that. And she says, I really like what I see here. So I got to, I asked her, and the cool part about it is she's local. I don't know how that happened, but it's cool. So she's local. So, I just was talking to her, and she's a nurse, and she got to hear Susan's story. That's where the branding comes in. And so what we're talking about is, I just essentially asked her, so can you see yourself doing this? I kind of, have had this kind of thing, talking about like that. And she's like, yeah, absolutely. This seems really, really simple. So that's what I do. And I try to ask them, well, when do you think you're going to be interested in starting? So I'm always asking, like I'm putting it out there, like, now is the time. Like, because if like even like car salesmen know this, if they go off the lot, if the car salesperson, if they're off the lot, then you pretty much have lost them, in my opinion. Okay, they may get busy with something else. They may find something else on the internet. So if you have them on the phone right then and there, lead them right to your computer and right to their computer and have them watch that presentation as you're talking to them right there. Hey, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, buddy.
Welcome, Jason. So Jason is joining us while
From
he's
Mexico.
away on vacation in Mexico. So
that's awesome.
Jason,
so that's what I do is I essentially try to really honestly just, button them up right there, because we do have a level for everybody. And if they say they don't have the money, then I dig a little bit deeper. And I've talked about this before, especially on the Saturday calls. I won't reveal what I do. You'll have to be a member before and Kelly knows what I'm talking about. But that's what I do is I try to analyze the situation. It's almost like you think about it as not analyzing the fact that it's a difficult analogy. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying, get down to the root. Where is it that if they said, well, I've tried this before, well, what exactly did you try? Exactly where did you advertise, and exactly how much money and how many leads did you get to talk to? If they say, I don't know, a few, well, a few doesn't cut it. So I really kind of get down to the nitty gritty, and then I say, what? And this is where, having the community, well, what? We all know how to generate leads. Well, in my case, I'll say, my business partner, Susan, she actually is a lead generation, and that's exactly how you found us, through her methods and through my methods of marketing. So we already know that you can do this because we're seeing duplication. So that's kind of what I do is I just kind of, I guess remind them of the process that they've come through. And that's easy then at that point, because they're like, wow, I can do this. And I never ever do any selling. If they ask me to explain the compensation plan, I do not. I absolutely do not. I will send them right back to the website, right to the compensation plan. And that's how that's how we've always gotten signups. It's just like that. You know what I mean? So they see that as a simple guidance process, and if they absolutely don't understand at all, and I know they haven't reviewed anything, that's pretty simple at that point. You know what I mean? So that's what I kind of do with the flow on a day-to-day basis. And my money-making activities is super focused. When I'm in this office, like I said today, Facebook, I wish there was like a Facebook, don't inbox me because I'm on the call. When I'm on calls, I'm very super focused and effective. And I try to do the one call close. That's what I call it.
Thank you, Tammy. Jason.
You're welcome.
Can you hear us?
From Mexico. Yes, I can hear. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Look at that view, guys. That's the view.
Beautiful.
Look at that view. That's the view from the condo. That's, I almost feel like we should be on the Monday night call, the work from wherever you are call.
Yeah.
Because, here it is, Wednesday evening down here in beautiful Los Barriles, Mexico, a little bit north of Cabo San Lucas. It's just absolutely just beautiful down here. We went fishing yesterday, 4-wheeling tomorrow, and just really enjoying it. But you know what? That is because I am now reaping the rewards, the fruits of my labor doing the MMAs, okay, the money-making activities. And just like Tammy said, focus. That's what it's all about. Focused energy equals focused results. So you have to focus your energy on your money-making activities, or another acronym I like to use is your IPAs, which is your income-producing activities.
Yeah.
And with this business, there's very few IPAs. It's the 3 steps that we teach and preach each and every day on all of our calls, and that is generate a lead, okay? Capture someone's interest. Once you have captured their interest, you talk to them, you send them to your website, and then you follow up with them to collect a decision. Now, every Tuesday when I do my training call, I mention that it's my goal to speak with anywhere from 3 to 5 quality, have 3 to 5 quality conversations for every hour that you're working your business. So you should be speaking to, if you're working 4 hours, which is a part-time endeavor, 4 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week is 16 to 20 hours a week. You will, that you'll be speaking with anywhere from 3 to 20 or 12 to 20 people per day. Okay, if you have 12 to 20 people per day going through your sales funnel, well, then that means you're going to have 12 to 15 people that you're following up with as well. And we all know it's a 3% business, and as you get involved and participate more, that percentage actually goes up. Okay, and it's really all about talking to more people. I have people that ask me all the time, or not necessarily ask me all the time, but people say, well, I'm not, and it does happen. Okay, it happens. People say I'm not getting the results that I was expecting. And every single time, guys, every single time, if you have somebody that says that they're not experiencing the results that they expected, you could go back to the numbers, because the numbers don't lie. Simply ask them how many people that they've talked to today, how many people they've talked to this week, how many people they've talked to this month. And you'll see that the numbers are down, which means that's the reason why they're not getting the results that they expect. Because some people think that because they're working, some people shuffling paperwork or getting ready to get ready, or for that matter, even being on training calls, okay, and going through the product, that is not, believe it or not, an income-producing activity. The only income-producing activity or money-making activity that we really, truly have is talking to people, getting them through the website. And then the fact is, the way I look at it is we don't really do any closing, okay? The right people will close themselves. The right people, after going through the website, will raise their hand and say, hey, I have some questions. I really like what we have to offer, what you have to offer. And then they will just get started. The old adage that you can't say the wrong thing to the right person or the right thing to the wrong person holds true. So again, I know I'm beating a dead horse, and Susan always says I repeat myself 3 or 4 times, so I'm going to hold up to that and say that the only thing that constitutes a money-making activity is talking to more people. That's it. Talking to more people. You talk to more people, you make more money. That's a fact. He or she who talks to the most people and gets the most people through their website makes the most money. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So again, capture someone's interest. There's a slew of ways to do that. Invite them to your website. Follow up with them. Yes, you can, when you're talking to them, you can indeed do the qualifying questions, okay, that Susan and Tammy and Craig had talked about. I always ask now if if they consider themselves to be a people person, if they, like to talk on the telephone. Because if somebody doesn't like talking on the telephone, then I don't even want to spend the time with them, because 100% of this business is really done over the telephone and the computer. So if somebody tells me, no, I don't really want to talk on the telephone, then I'll just send them to the website and dismiss it and go on to the next person. I ask them if they're coachable and trainable. I ask them if they are, if they have a minimum of 10 to 15 hours a week to start their business. And another great question that I'll start implementing into my process is simply asking them, hey, look, if I could honestly show you a way to start generating an extra $2,000 to $5,000 a week, how soon are you looking to get started? And do you have the necessary capital to get started? So all of those things make a difference when you're talking to people, when you're qualifying people. So, that's what I've got for tonight is, income producing activities or money making activities is simply what? Talk to more people. That's it. Talk to more people, introduce them to our community. We've got such a fantastic group of people here that we work with on a daily basis. I honestly just can't see any reason why anybody wouldn't want, I'll go out on a limb and say this. Once somebody fully understands who we are and what we're doing and the purpose of what we're doing it for, the numbers are just going to go straight up. You know, that's it. I mean, so people have to know who we are, what we're doing, and why we're doing it. And once they really fully understand that, then they just come on board. So, and I'm not saying there's no wrong, right, or right way to do things. Like Tammy goes for a one call close. Hey, Tammy is a very successful business person here within the Alliance. And that's the beautiful thing about this, is there's more than one way to be successful. I am more of the lines of giving them, providing them the information, letting them get to know who we are, what we're doing, and why we're doing it, and letting them know, hey, that may take some time to do. But if you dedicate your time to get to know who we are and why we're doing it, then your answer will become evident, and you'll be joining our community and helping other people do the same. So from Los Barriles, Mexico, look at that view again, guys. Isn't that absolutely beautiful? Look at that.
That is a gorgeous view.
I mean, it is just unbelievable.
I like Mexico.
So, yes, I do too. So, yes, this is the Hangout with Mentors, but it's the work from where you are version of the Hangout with Mentors tonight.
Yes.
Every day is work from wherever you are, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, that is very true. That is very true. Every day is work from where you are. That's right.
So Jason, in Mexico, taking a break from his money-making activities, yet still chiming in.
Oh, no, I'm not taking, hey, no. I'm not taking a break. There are American-speaking English. There are American-speaking people down here that I am talking to.
Yeah, I was gonna say every person is Jason's prospect. If you ever travel with
Oh,
Jason.
yeah, that's right. I forgot. The Uber driver, the cashier.
Yes, exactly. Money doesn't sleep, so why should we? Right?
Yeah.
Very true.
Hey, you know what? The cool part about it is when we were in Vegas, I think every time we were in an Uber, right, Susan? We were all like saying, "Hey, you know, they don't like their job." So it was really cool. You know.
My last Uber ride from the last trip last month to Florida, my Uber ride to the airport, I taught him about video marketing, and he actually just sent me a message the other day, and he is using video to promote his salon product business.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, just through an Uber ride, I taught him the importance of video and how to do video on purpose, and he's already using it and getting results. So, somebody, was it Andy or Richie, wanted a success story there? I created a success story during an Uber ride. I'll ask him numbers if you want. So, let's just, before we close out, because I think we covered a lot, but let's just clarify some details. So what are not money-making activities? What are some activities that might keep people really busy, but they're not directly money-making activities?
Yeah.
Shuffling paperwork.
No. Mm-mm.
Paperwork.
No. Contacting all the other Unstoppable Alliance team members that are already in. I mean, we have these meetings here. I'm just going to be frank tonight.
Huh?
I thought you were Tammy.
I mean, sometimes Susan's frank, but I'm going to be frank tonight. I mean, when I'm zeroed in, I'll tell people we have one Skype room, no reason to side Skype. But I mean, seriously, that's really what it boils down to, is that, we got the guidance, we have the lead generation, we have the training in the back office camp, we have, 18 live events, invite, use the lead generation. That's literally money-making activities. The one that isn't is contacting all the other members because they're already in. So
make sure you do your lead generation, your money-making activities, including lead generation. Please do that first. And then you can hang out and visit. Ray, do you have a money-making activity or a non-money-making activity that distracts people?
Just on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of them, actually, I think it was about this time last year, we did We did a training on all the different ones. Like there is foundation building activities that need to be done, but you can do them simultaneously. You can do them after your lead generation and your conversations with people. And some of that is building your presence in social media, making sure that your website, if you have a blog or a website where you post content, looking after that. That's after your money making activities. What were you going to say, Jason?
Yeah, well, I'll admit I'm guilty of this one. Okay, and that is when I'm prospecting, I try to befriend people before they go through the information. And sometimes, I've been on my training calls on the live dials where, I'm on the phone with a prospect for 15 to 20 minutes. And then that prospect never even goes to the website. So that is really not a income producing activity. That is that's a non-income producing activity, is spending too much time with people before they go through the information. So, now if you have been on my last couple training calls, I really try to spend no more than 5 minutes, maybe 7 minutes at the max with each person. Just basically, again, qualifying them for their business acumen, their resources, their willingness to follow a system if they want to work on the telephone and so forth. Once they meet all of those, then get them through the system, get off the phone with them, and get on to the next one. So I would say that one of mine that I've been guilty with in the past is trying to befriend people instead of prospect people. So that's another time waster. Just that's one that is big for anybody that is there.
Absolutely. Kelly, do you have a non-money making activity that often distracts people and gets them busy?
Well, I would say personally, it can be my own desk, and just what's sitting on there. And I think, okay, I got to take care of some things. And, it's just my own distractedness sometimes, just being distracted with this or that, because you're working from home. All of a sudden you hear a bird out in the yard. It's like, oh, I wonder what it's like outside right now. So you go wandering out there. Of course, you bring your phone with you. So, So I have to really be focused and really be aware of those things, and trying to, have a social media presence and just making sure that I'm spending the time, wisely. Because, even Abe Lincoln said, if you've got 6 hours to cut down that tree, you should spend the first 4 hours sharpening your saw. So there is something about those sharpening activities that eventually do lead to be income producing activities. So I definitely don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but I tend to, it's my desk. And it's a funny thing. If I clean my desk and everything's put away, then I get really scared, because then it's out of sight, out of mind, So I have to find my own little balance there. For me, that's just a personal thing that I find. Facebook is one of those things, even Skype. So if you're going to be making calls, just shut it all down and just focus on the calling and focus on the people. Focus on who you're with right in the very moment of time. I know as a mom years ago, working a home-based business, I used to find I felt guilty that if I was with my children, that I wasn't building my business, or if I was working on my business, that I wasn't focused on my family. So what I learned was there is no such thing really as a balance. Just be where you are and be fully there and be fully doing what you're doing. So when I was with my children then, I was 100% there and I wasn't thinking about my business, and vice versa. When I'm focused on the people in my business, I'm with them 100%, and I'm not in the back of my mind going, oh, well, I should be over here doing this or that. So that's just, especially as a mom and a woman, I think, of course, we can multitask pretty well. I used to hear this little joke that men are like MS-DOS and women are like Windows. Anyway, I'll finish with that.
That's
I'm not going to touch that one. I'm just not going to touch that one.
That is funny. Okay, so welcome, Rob.
I must be like Emma Sauce then.
I'm not touching that one either.
No.
I'm the multitasker in this partnership. I will say that, though.
Stop it.
Okay, done. Rob, would you like to? We're just about to close it up.
I have one more to add, though.
I was afraid. No one else did. Well, Jason kind of did. Jason's usual thing, but nobody's done a Rob Hanley yet. Do you think we can?
I know. No, seriously, before you call him, I got to say something because he'll do the Rob Hanley. I just have to say one last thing. Non-money making activity is inboxing Richie and messaging him back.
Yeah.
He's funny though, but no, that's a non-money making activity.
Is that what we're talking about? Money making activities?
Yeah,
Yes.
we're talking about money making activities. But before you speak, Rob, I'd like to thank you publicly and in the recording. You did a fabulous job. Thank you for stepping in and hosting Hangout with Mentors for me. I really appreciate it. And as I was reviewing it and editing it, you said, I apologize for not being Susan Bachelder. You don't need to apologize because you're Rob Hanley and you did a great job. And I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes. Did a great job.
And Susan, before you do turn it over to Rob, because I know he's going to do it.
Everybody's trying to get their last words in.
Rob
Good.
Hanley. Well, no. I just want to say this because we have reservations here. I just want to thank you for being who you are as well. Rob, I also want to publicly thank you as well for hosting the call and doing a bang-up job last week. Thank you. Kudos to you. Thank you for everybody. I love each and every one of you. I really do from my heart.
Brother.
Here in Mexico, we will check in next week and, and yes, off to do money-making activities. That's right. So
When are you back?
Awesome.
you all.
Enjoy some more tacos.
And,
I made tacos here tonight, but they weren't quite as good as tacos right in Mexico.
Oh man, I tell you what, that's all we've been doing is eating down here. That's, yes, it's crazy.
Margaritas.
But yeah, and Pacificos. I've had my share of Pacificos too. But hey, Dr. B, I also want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to you, Dr. B, as well. Congratulations on your little pups. They're adorable. I like following them on Facebook. That's absolutely incredible. I know they've kept you up, and I know that they've actually kept me up because you kept calling me at 3:00 in the morning when they were having, when they were being born. I have my phone on my nightstand, and he kept calling me at 3 a.m. in the morning. See, look, Jason, they're here.
Yeah, he Skyped me a picture too at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, I know. Huh? You gotta love it. You gotta love it. But hey, thanks everybody. I don't know how to say goodbye in Mexico, so see you later.
Adios.
Okay, buenas noches. Have a great night, everybody. Hasta la vista, baby. There you go.
Well, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the recording. It sounds like it was a really good one, of course.
Yes.
Wait, the one that you hosted? Yes, it was.
No, not this one is what I mean. I'll have to go back and look at that one too. I'm really glad.
I may have to go too because speaking of things, I gotta go call this guy back. Money making activity.
Well, you look good, Susan. You look like you're healthy, so I'm
starting to feel
energetic and everything. Good.
Starting to feel quite a bit better. Yes, and I'm almost caught up on I think I was behind 4 of the recordings, and I'm almost caught up. So
good. Well, I apologize to everybody for being late here. I had something I could not break away from, and I wanted to at least come on and say hi. And it sounds like a great topic, money making activities, and that's where it's all at. I think it comes down to the all this stuff that Joe threw out there a while ago. Happened, I don't know, 6 weeks or 8 weeks ago, about contacting 5 people a day and having 5 conversations and things like that. And I saw somebody recently, maybe even from our group, was talking about, I don't know what it was. They were posting on Facebook, and I probably posted something that wasn't so nice. I was like, well, don't post on Facebook, just go and do it. And, it only comes down to, I think everybody knows what they have to do, and we distract ourselves on purpose, or probably because you're fearful, or you're, fear of failure, fear of, I don't really know the fear of success is really something that's actually that real. People talk about that. I think it's, we're all human beings, and people don't like to get rejected, and they don't like to, and there's, in any kind of business, we say it's a numbers game. And so you're going to deal with rejection. You're going to deal with mostly rejection. We call it a 3% business. And so 97 out of 100 are going to say no, or maybe we'll be nice and just say it's not a fit or something like that. And, kind of takes a little bit of a tough skin to do this or to do this lifestyle. And, it's really all about just talking to the next person, and finding those people that actually want to have a conversation, that want to play along, that are engaged. That's, as they say in social media terms, it's all about engagement. And, those people that won't engage, or they stop engaging or something like that, you move on. And I remember in the olden days, in my network marketing days, there was something that the guy would say. One guy said from stage, or I heard it many times, and he said, there's really no problem that you're having, probably even almost in your business, with the exception of being sick or something like that, but anything that you can't cure with what they called width then was just bringing the next person on. I mean, we're not building downlines and we're not doing stuff. And yes, we do mentor and help people and help them to get started and get them set up and help them to drive traffic. We do 3 ways, or, we sometimes get on the phone with their prospects as well. And I like to do that if it's a brand new person. And somebody, last week, and he was, should I call him? Should you call him? Should I call him? Should you call him? So just let's call them together. It's no problem. So these kind of things are stuff that we do. I mean, that really is a money-making activity. But the main point was, whatever it is that you're going through, if you there's no problem that you can't fix by bringing the next person on. And when you feel bad about the last person, maybe you had somebody that you had a conversation going with, and in the end it either didn't work or something. I just say it wasn't a fit. That's the corporate term, that it just didn't go forward. You get over that when you have the next person that is an excited person that's asking for information, that looks like they're moving forward, and all the kind of things like that. And so that's probably why we make work and we do things that are non-money making activities, is because you don't want to go through that stuff, but you got to just focus on what it is that you want, and that is the next person to overall come into your business. So that's probably what without hearing all the wonderful input that everybody had, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is money making activities. And then the real question is why don't you do it? And you know what you need to do. Every single person, even the new person, knows what they need to do or what they could do, and they don't. And so why don't they? And it's because there's I'm going to do it wrong or something like that. There's almost this scarcity thinking that if I ask this person and they say no, that's it. And the idea is that there's zillions and zillions of people that's out there, and it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter at all if any one person decides to move forward or they don't. And that's the attitude that everybody has to say or have. I cannot tell you that it is something that after you've been doing the business for a long, long time, or many, many years like me, that you still sometimes avoid money-making activities. I'd like to tell you I'm just a machine. It's no problem, at all. But, it actually never really goes away unless you're constantly advertising and driving traffic and stuff like that, where you constantly have new contacts coming in and new people hitting you up. It never goes away. So you just stay out there and stay in it. You keep putting bait on your fishing pole and you keep throwing it out there again and again and again and again. And the one that got away, you're not worried about at all, because once you got a bite on your line, you're not even thinking about that. So that's what my 2 cents is on that.
I love that. Thank you very much, Rob. And interestingly enough, you weren't here from the beginning, so you didn't hear what everyone else had shared. But of course, what you shared was completely different and from a different perspective than everybody else. So thank you very much.
Okay. Good. Well, I'm glad I could get here.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad too. And interestingly enough, Samuel, my son, is doing initial calls for the people that fill out the form and ask to speak with Tammy and I. So he's doing our initial calls for us. And so for the first, I don't even have a time perspective, Tammy. Is it about 2 months? since he started? I think it's about 2 months.
Sorry, I had to mute myself because the phone was dinging. Yeah, that's what happened.
So
2 months.
2 months, yeah. And so for the first while, all he was initially focusing on the no answers and the ones that, well, they just filled out the form like maybe yesterday or 2 days ago and they can't remember, but so that's what he was focusing on. And now for the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's seeing that the second, and he's seeing the notes that Tammy and I then are adding on the sheet and hearing our stories that the second or third call, that yes, they're interested, they're giving us dates, they're going to take action and stuff. And now he's getting excited. So he's getting deeper into his first call, and his notes are like, this one has a mom, stay-at-home mom, 8 kids. Like, he's getting a lot more information. He's getting excited, and then he's asking, so did Tammy call so-and-so? Did you call so-and-so? And he, he's getting excited because he's seeing the results. So
that's awesome. In fact, that's why there's this person I got to talk to that that's in fact,
So you have to keep on doing it, and sometimes you don't see the results, but keep on doing it, and then you'll see the results, and then these money-making activities will feel more
well, when you have lots of stuff going on and you have lots of people interested, and you've got lots of leads and things like that, and you've got lots of people to follow up with, and you're getting it's positive feedback, negative feedback, and it's kind of spiral upward, spiral downward. Mm-hmm. And so when you're getting feedback all of the time that what you're doing is working and it's right, it makes us feel good. And then that goes to the next. So you want to do more. You want to do more of that, and it works in reverse. If you're so it's the whole kind of thing. Like something doesn't go the right way or whatever. We did a whole training or on a Saturday morning, and it was on it's kind of a law of attraction kind of a thing. And there was a sheet that I used to put together. It was a spreadsheet. And it was like all of the things that it was called the ideal prospect. And the ideal prospect is a guy that pays you and refers somebody else. But in order for somebody to pay you, they have to opt in. They have to have a good phone number. You have to call them up. They remember what it was. They have to be interested. They're probably going to go to a call or something like that or get more information. After they get more information, then they're still interested. They have to have the money, right? There's all of these things. And then typically, one of the last 2 or 3 things that happens, maybe it's the last 2 or 3, is that they give you what's called a verbal. They say, okay, great, I want to join. Maybe they set a date or something like that. And that's, out of 10 different characteristics in columns, that the last thing is that you get paid. And the tendency is that if you go all the way through and then somebody doesn't pay, or they get on a call and they like it, and then something happens and you lose touch, you think, oh, wow. And instead, you just have to purpose yourself really. And this goes for me, it goes for anybody, I would say, is you got to purpose yourself to look at, wow, I had somebody that went all the way through and they did all of these different things. I don't know this person. And, I'll just say not every person that is even told me that they're going to get started, they don't always get started. It's really disappointing, to be honest. I mean, when somebody says, hey, I'm going forward, and then then they don't, it happens. And the tendency is to really focus on the fact that you're fishing and your line broke right at the last second, rather than what you need to do is understand the bait work. Everything worked and you had somebody, and so then it's just repeating again. It should be something that is evidence to yourself that, hey, this is working because I was able to progress somebody this far, or somebody did progress themselves this far through the whole process. And so, wow, this actually works. Where you really can look at it like glass half full, like, wow, this is working. I'll do that again. And it's always up here. So.
Absolutely. Jason, did you have something that you wanted to?
Yeah, but it's actually kind of funny, and I didn't necessarily want to go right after that because that was a great piece there. Yeah, it really was. It was a great piece, and I wanted to, I don't want to take any focus off of that, but, being down here in Mexico, this is actually one of my first, and this is definitely not, my first here. I've been to Mexico several times, but this is the first time I've ever seen cows walking on the beach. So that's kind of interesting to me, and that's another example of a non-income producing activity. Is watching cows on the beach. However, what it is, it's a fruit of your labors because I did focus on money-making activities. I'm allowing myself to come to Mexico and watch cows walk on the beach.
There you go.
There you go.
So I just thought that was pretty funny. But anyways, not to take away from Rob, your piece there, your information was spot on. So
good.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, Craig, yes.
Well, I just wanted to add, you were talking about non-money-making activities, and one of my all-time favorite recordings is the Momentum recording that Jason did. I must have heard that recording probably 20 times.
I'd like that. Where is that? Is that in the back office? I'd like to listen to that.
That's awesome. I sent it out to a new person that's getting involved. A must.
I'm going to Skype you. You can send it to me. I'd love it. You can send me a link.
It's
it is in the back office of AMP.
Okay.
In the back office.
Yeah.
I think there's a section there just for Jason Cox.
Oh, wow. Okay.
No, I don't think that's the case, but yes, it is in AMP. That's for certain.
Yes. So anyway, I like listening to the recorded calls. That's one non-money making thing, listening to calls. You can do that when for those people who have a job, they can listen to it, with their phone or at lunch or, on their way home. But that's not a money making activity. I also just wanted to add quickly something to what Kelly said about family and kids. And she, at first, I think felt a little bit uncomfortable with that. One thing that I have heard in the past that you can do, and I think it works real well for those people that have kids, make them a part of your business. For those people that are members or candidates that are looking at the opportunity, don't use your kids as an excuse. When you put yourself in whatever office that you're calling from, maybe for every night that you make phone calls, then they get a star they can put on the calendar. And when those stars add up to, I don't know, 15, 20, however many you want to make it, then they get to go to McDonald's, or they, depending on their age, they get to go wherever it is they want to go. Make them a part of your business. And that way they'll leave you alone when you're making phone calls. They'll support you. They'll Mommy, Daddy, why aren't you in there making phone calls? I want my star. So I think it's just a good thing for people that have kids to think about.
That is actually a really good point, Craig. And my business and like it's always been so just completely intertwined. And my office is kind of like in the center of my house. So both my kids hear all of these conversations. They actually feel like they're a part of all of you guys. They know you. They'll ask specific questions about people. And now my son is 20 and he's in the business with us. So yeah, I think a part of it is good to overlap, and yet it's good to take a break from your business and be completely in that space with your family, just like Kelly said. So it's all about balance. It's all about balance. So I guess if anybody doesn't have anything to add, we did not too bad. We almost closed it up at 39 minutes. And then now we're at the top of the hour, but I think we'll close it out. Thank you, each of you, for joining the panel with me. I appreciate you. It's been great. And I can hear you typing, Rob. I'm just going to...
Oh, wow. I'm sorry. I'm on my microphone, too. That's crazy.
It's okay. It's okay. It's just distracting me. I'm like, what is he typing? Speaking of distracting... I'll just close it out, though.
I was multitasking.
Yeah, it's all good. Anyway, thank you for watching. And if you're watching the recording or you've watched it live and you're not already a member, get back with the person that invited you. If you are a member, make sure that you send it out to your list, the purpose of it. And we did that recording just recently as well. What is Hangout with Mentors and how do I benefit from it? So it'll help you know what to do with the recordings. Use it as value to give your prospects, your potential partners, a piece of value. People like it when you give them something. You can use it as a lead magnet to attract and actually create leads. and just give them an idea of what happens on the inside. This is the open for public kind of free stuff that we give, and the paid members get even more on the inside. So use it. It's a benefit. And that's it. It's a wrap.